Day 10 of Diddy's trial, I saw the tearful testimony from a former Diddy employee who'd spent years in his inner circle. She claims that he kidnapped her and threatened to kill her. In just a moment, my team of legal experts and court insiders will go through what we heard from Capricorn Clark. Now, her testimony is critically important to the prosecution because her job put her inside the core of Diddy's business empire. Now, Clark testified that she was kidnapped, her words, when Diddy found out that Cassie Ventura was dating Kid Cudi. She also told the jury today about the multiple times that Diddy had threatened her own life, including during her very first day on the job. And she said that Diddy had final approval over every aspect of Cassie's career. Now, Clark, she worked for Diddy on and off for more than a decade, starting first as a personal assistant in 2004. And what she alleged happened in December of 2011 may be the most shocking. That's when Diddy discovered that Cassie was in a relationship of some kind with Kid Cudi. She said that Diddy banged on her door around 6 o'clock in the morning, holding a gun and furious she didn't tell him about Cassie and Cudi. Clark says to the jury, quote, "He just said, get dressed, we're going to kill this N-word." And when she tried to protest, she said Diddy told her, "I don't give an F what you want to do. Go get dressed." Now, Clark said that she was then swept into a Cadillac Escalade. They drove to Kid Cudi's home, and she claimed that Diddy and one of his security guards then went inside the house. Clark frantically called Cassie to tell her what was happening, testifying that a short time later, Cudi's car pulled up next to them and then took off. Diddy and the security guard jumped back in the Escalade. Then she described a short car chase before Cudi got away. And after it was all over, Clark said Diddy gave her an ultimatum. She and Cassie needed to sway Kid Cudi against telling the cops that Diddy was involved in the alleged break-in. Clark testified, quote, "He says, if you guys don't convince him of that, I'll kill all you MFers." But that wasn't the only time that Clark said that she feared for her own life. She claimed Diddy once accused her of stealing diamond jewelry. Said that she suffered through 5 straight days of lie detector tests inside of a gutted, rundown Manhattan office building. She testified the man giving the tests warned her, quote, "I'm not getting a good reading. You need to calm down. You're going to be in the East River if I can't get a reading on this." Clark even said that Diddy threatened her on her very first day working for him, testifying that it's because she worked at Suge Knight's record label before working for Diddy. She claimed Diddy took her to Central Park with his bodyguard. It happened. He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me. Clark also testified about Diddy's control over Cassie Ventura, saying that he had final approval on everything from Cassie's hair and makeup to the projects she was working on. I want to begin with CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister, who saw all of the testimony in court today. It was quite a day. She testified very emotionally, by the way, for a long period of time. And it was about a very dark parting message that she spoke about today when Diddy fired her in 2012. What did she say happened?
Yeah, so Capricorn Clark didn't just testify to what she alleged happened while she was working for Diddy. She also testified and told the jury that after she was terminated, that he essentially blacklisted her from the industry. I want to read you part of what she said on the stand. She said, quote, that he said that I would never work again, that he would show me that all these people weren't my friends, and he would make me kill myself. So she testified to the jury that she was scared. He had the power and the control over her career. She said that her home at the time was paid for by the company, her car was paid for by the company. All these things went away when she was terminated, and she had trouble getting another job.
She was breaking down in sobs throughout. I mean, it almost was like she was on the edge of always crying, and she did throughout her entire testimony. But it was when she talked about asking for Sean's forgiveness that she really got emotional. What happened?
Yes, so the defense during their cross-examination, they brought up a series of emails and text messages showing that Capricorn Clark stayed in communication with Sean Combs even after she was terminated. As recently as 2021 that she had been in communication with him, as recently as 2024 that she had met with him. Now, she explained this because she said he had all the power. and she had nothing. And again, remember, she used that word blacklisted. So her explanation was, I had to work. I had to put food on the table. She said that she has a son with autism who is nonverbal. She has to provide for him. And she felt that the only way to continue to work in this industry was to stay in Diddy's good graces, because she did say that she went to a few other companies for what she thought were job interviews or meetings, and that she realized that she was blacklisted because she thought her perspective that Diddy badmouthed her in the industry.
She went for interviews. They returned with warnings, apparently. A lot to unpack. Let's go over the table. I want to talk to some of our great legal minds who are here as well to break this all down. We've got CNN legal analyst and, of course, criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson is in the building today. Also, we have the former Westchester DA, Mimi Rocha, and former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Saland. There is a lot to unpack today. First of all, she was really emotional throughout the entire day. I cannot overstate that enough. She was on the verge of tears throughout, and sometimes holding her head in her hands, taking off her glasses just to emote even more. I don't mean emote in the way that I didn't believe her, but she was really emotional. I want to begin with you, Jeremy, because now we're in week 3, okay? I want to try to reset and remind our viewers about the charges here. You've got RICO, you've got sex trafficking, you've got prostitution, all important. Let's start with RICO, racketeering, essentially. First up, you got the predicate crimes. How does this move the needle towards the prosecution proving RICO? Does it?
I don't think they have until recently, and I think it starts in large part, with Capricorn. But they moved it until Agnifilo did a good job a little bit in moving it back, because you need that predicate act, and here we'll go with kidnapping. To
translate that, what that means, this predicate act. What does that mean in
so
layman's
you need
terms?
this underlying crime that's part of this. You need more than one that helps build to the structure for this criminal enterprise, and this is where they were going. And here you have the kidnapping as a piece of this, and sort of furtherance, not a one-off, but in furtherance of this, I'll use the criminal conspiracy. And what she says is, at one point, is that, you know, she gets into the car and she's forced into the car, and I think she claims that she also told Cassie and Cuddy when in the call that there was a gun, but they didn't say anything about the gun. She says something about how she went along possibly to make sure everything was okay, and Diddy didn't get into further trouble in substance. She was cross-examined by Mark Agnifilo on that point. Well, then was she really taken there against her will? You need to establish these predicate acts. And again, we're going to go with kidnapping. Otherwise, you can't get that RICO or conspiracy reach to RICO charge. Did they move the ball? They had to get there because they haven't gotten there yet. Did they do enough? Not yet.
So we're 17 witnesses in. We're still on the predicate part. And of course, the jurors are not hearing every single day. This is the predicate part of the government's case. But they got to prove the predicate. But the word enterprise is going to be top of mind for them as well. They have to show that there is an enterprise itself. And they, of course, have now an inner part of the circle in terms of this woman, Capricorn Clark. Now, she says, Mimi, that security guards ran lie detector tests. She didn't know who everyone was involved, that they were going to throw her in the East River over allegations that she stole from Jacob the jeweler. There was mob-like terms, the East River beyond that. Does that in and of itself confirm that there was an inner circle that was an enterprise?
Well, I think we're getting there. And I think they've started to put in the building blocks for that. It wasn't the first piece, right? The first piece, obviously, through the first few witnesses, was establishing the sex trafficking and the coercion through Cassie, and then corroborating witnesses. I think now what we've started to see is how Combs used employees of his business, to, I mean, there was a legitimate business, but then these employees were being asked or told to do illegitimate things as well.
Which is part of RICO, right? You could have a legitimate business doing illegitimate acts and still fall on. It doesn't have to be a fake entity.
Yes, or just that the people doing it may have legitimate jobs, be employees, receive salaries for that, but they're also doing other things for this purpose, which here is alleged to be essentially the satisfaction of Combs, his desires, his needs, his self-esteem, his power, his control. It's going to, I mean, we have a ways more to go. And this is one of those cases that I think is very much going to come down to closing arguments and how the government brings all of that together to explain the enterprise to the jury. And I think they'll do a very good job here, but I think they're putting in the building blocks of that
you know,
now.